Greetings. This is Ufara, back to Keys for the Unhinged. This would be episode 5. So glad to be back. It's actually been a couple of days, but it's okay. I'm talking about 3 days, not too many days, but it has been a couple of days. So much can always happen within a short period of time, right? It can. You know, what's on my mind? Let me get some water because I actually just woke up about almost an hour ago, and I haven't really been doing too much talking, but let me drink some water real quick. Okay. All the children are still asleep, and that's wonderful. So let's see if we can get this episode recorded without any interruptions. Okay. How's everybody doing? I pray you're well. I pray you're smiling. I pray if you're not smiling, you will be smiling very shortly. Life is very, very interesting, and it's also what we make it. It's definitely what we make it. How we look at the picture, how we perceive the picture. Either the glass is always halfway full or it's always halfway empty. If it's always full, that means we're going to make lemonade out of lemons, right? And that's what we're going to do. So I was sitting here and I really had something on my mind that I did not want to happen. We talk a lot about things that we think and focusing on stuff that we don't want to happen. So, a lot of people are talking about thinking positive, things that you want to happen. Think of, don't waste energy on stuff that you do not want to happen. And I completely agree. But that has to work in two ways. By that, if there's something that you just don't want to happen, like, for instance, if there is someone that I do not want to come and live at my home, what about if I used so much energy telling that person that in the spirit realm and use the energy to repel that person from my domain? It should work both ways, right? It seems like it's working, okay? And that's what, like I was sitting here and I was thinking, and I heard that the person doesn't even want to come here, and that's wonderful news, y'all. It's wonderful news. And then, I was like, maybe what's happening is the fact that I am using my energy. I am using frequencies to repel that person from my domain. and it seems it's working. So the power of manifestation, I am not an expert in it whatsoever. Okay, I'm not. I only know what I know, and I know that our thoughts create our reality. That I know. I know that. I know what we say. What we say comes to pass. What we think comes to pass. So we're always not we're always, but so I'm hearing about it, and best believe I want to be a master manifester, okay? I want every word that I speak, I want it to be with intention, and I want it to be what carves my journey before me, okay? So that's where I want to be personally. I want to be able to alchemize words. So much the previous years of my life to where I am at this moment has not been to intentionally manifest the reality that I personally want for myself. So now I'm at a place to where I create my reality. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. Our voices, our thoughts are so, 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 so powerful. And they are what creates what's before us. So if there is something that is trying to come before me and I don't want it to. I know that the energies that come with it, the vibrations that come with it, it's going to disrupt where I am at this moment, and I don't want it to. I don't want it to invade my space. I don't want it to interrupt the flow that I have flowing. And we can do that as well. It would be awesome if I had someone to talk to who was a master manifester right now, that was on the podcast, because we could converse and dialogue about what it is I'm saying. And then, of course, obviously, they can give their input on it. But, excuse me, I had to stretch my back and yarn. But so, it's interesting. And if you want something, draw it to you by your thoughts, right? Your thoughts, your words, the frequency that we give out, we pull it to us. Or we make it appear, however you want to say it. If you do not want something to come to you, you repel it, right? And I guess also, because, I was just thinking, I had a memory flashback. You repel it, but also if you know what it is that you don't want, that does not mean that it will not try to come and rest there. I guess that means just stick to your guns, stick to what it is that you already know you don't need, and stick to what has been revealed to you. We second guess ourselves so much, and we have to learn to trust ourselves. We have to learn to trust our journey and trust that our higher selves are not on this plane. It's not, on this level, so it definitely knows what we don't. And that's our guiding. That's our guidance, our higher self. So we have to know that I know for a fact my higher self would have liked for me to listen sooner. Like, because your higher self speaks and it might say, hey, Ufara, go left. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but right looks, like right looks a little bit more sweet. And you go right. And you bump your head and you're like, oh, I could have sworn I was told to go left. Yeah, you probably were, but you didn't listen. So that's what I'm saying. That's that higher self that's like, hey, yeah, do this. Make this move. Go this way. Go that way. And we don't listen. But hopefully, you're researching and you're able to sit quiet and meditate and listen to yourself. And as we do that, we will continue to strengthen the bond that we have with ourselves. A lot of us are trying to make sure that we have certain relationships in certain on certain levels. I guess I could say we're trying to make sure that certain relationships are darn near perfect, but we're not making sure the relationship with ourselves is in that same way. Some of us are putting more time into relationships with people and we're neglecting ourselves. And that's not cool, because at the end of the day, it's you and yourself. It's you and yourself. And I am all about a collective. It takes a community to raise, it takes a village to raise a child. I definitely believe that. So I'm not speaking of like division and all that stuff. Oh no, I'm definitely for a collective. And I know it's, one huge major consciousness that we're all tapped into. So I'm not saying it like it's all about you, it's about yourself. But it is all about you. If every individual literally stepped back and put their time into themselves and mastered the relationship with themselves, listening to their higher self, the world would be so much better. And I spoke about that in a previous episode. I think it was maybe episode 2. But I spoke about that. So I just wanted to clarify, I'm not speaking about just being what it is, separated. But it is, if that makes sense, So it's like I have children, I have a husband, and for so long, my oldest child is 21. So for so long, I have been putting myself behind, neglecting myself, not listening to my higher self so that I can be a good wife and, steer my children and put time into my children. But I'm sitting here putting myself back together, learning myself, figuring myself out. And it's because I neglected myself. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, life goes, life flows, life moves. We have children, we have boyfriends, we have girlfriends, we have husbands, we have wives. Don't neglect yourself, though. Don't neglect yourself, because that's who it is in those quiet moments. That's who is there. That's who will always be there. And once you turn your face from yourself, it's just harder to look in the mirror at yourself. And that's how things is set up so that we deny ourselves. And when we can't trust ourselves, we really don't trust anyone. It's no such thing as trusting anyone if you don't trust yourself. And we should. We should trust the one we're looking at in the mirror. And you know how that starts. We have to keep our word. You know, a lot of times we say stuff. We say we might do this or we might go and do that for someone. And we're not necessarily thinking when we reply that, oh, hey, I will do this, or hey, I will go there, or I'll, whatever. We don't necessarily think about what it is that we have said we will do. And we just haven't put thought in it. So a lot of times we respond before we should. And then we create, oh, I saw something. What was that called? We create, what is that? It's, I want to say the word loophole, but that's not the word I'm looking for. I loved how that guy explained it. His name was Michael something. We create, you say, oh, okay, hey. And they be like, hey, Mom, can you, oh, yes, I will on Friday the 12th. We'll go and I'll take you to go and do this. Okay, so that's one thing that, he said, okay, I'll take you go do this. Somebody else says something and they were like, oh, yeah, oh, Thomas, yeah, I'll take you and go do that for you. That's the second thing you've created. Somebody else might call you and say, hey, Farda, I need you to go in. Not I need you to, that's not nice. But hey, can you help me? Okay, well, what time is it? Well, it's going to be the same day that I said Friday the 2nd, I think. I don't remember. But the first thing I listed, it's going to be on that same day. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I already have something planned on that day. But they're like, yeah, but I need your help. I can't find somebody else to do it. I need your help. And it's like, okay, I'll see if I can rearrange this thing. The first thing that I have listed, I'll see if I can rearrange that. And I'll see if I can fit them both in the same day. They're like, oh, okay, great. So now I have scheduled 3 things within I was going to say a week, but that's of course that's realistic, but I'm talking about scheduling those 3 things within 2 days, and so we make arrangements, we make schedules, we make dates, we put things down. And the word almost came to me. It's going to come to me. We put things down and we're not able to necessarily keep them. Leaks. That is the word. Leaks. We say, okay, hey, let's do this. I'm wondering if does it. Okay, I was wondering if my phone will continue to record if I get out of the recorder, and it does. So let me see something. I don't know. I've never even tried to look this up, but we're going to see if it comes up. What? This is talking about creating a leak refers to the act of intentionally or unintentionally releasing confidential or sensitive information that was meant to be kept private. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, no, not something leaking out of, excuse me, a cup. I'm not talking about that. The meaning of leak in everyday situations. This current definition of leaking out applies to various scenarios. Learn how a simple crack or hole can cause. This is probably what I'm talking about, but it's a TikTok video. What does creating a leak mean on TikTok? I wonder if I click there, the new marketing strategy, embrace leaks. No, I'm still not talking about that. How to get on the For You page. Understanding the meaning of leak in everyday situation. I think that's what I'm talking about. Let me see. I'm going to pause this recording. It's a 28-second video. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. Nope, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. But the guy, his name is Michael, and he's like a spiritualist guy. He's, like he has kind of like long brown wavy hair. He looks like he's of European descent. I don't know exactly where from, but he's not like necessarily melanated. And he was talking about just, we give so many tasks to ourselves, and we're not necessarily able to hold the weight of those tasks, and that creates that creates leaks. I'm pretty sure this will come up again, and maybe someone else knows exactly what I'm talking about, and they will let me know. But it's interesting because, excuse me, when I watched and listened to his discourse, excuse me, when I watched and listened to it, it made so much sense. And he talks about like breaking spiritual contracts and stuff like that. But it was just in this same video that I'm talking about. It's one video, and he talks about creating the leaks, and then spiritual contracts that we have set up ourselves. So it's just it's interesting that we create so much stuff and we put so much stuff on our own plates that obviously, because we're piling and we're piling and we're piling, we end up burying ourselves. And we don't even know who we are anymore. We don't know who we are. We don't know what it is that we like. Sometimes we don't even give ourselves time to cry when we want to. I know, oh my goodness, I've definitely been guilty of that. Something might happen and a situation makes me upset. I get overwhelmed. I go to the bathroom and think I'm going to cry it out. And not even 5 minutes later, a child is at the door. They're like, what's the matter with you? What's the matter? And that's not healthy in itself. I am 42 rotations around the sun, okay? And my mother, I have probably seen her, actually, seeing and hearing are totally two different things, right? Of course, when you hear something, you can visualize seeing it too. But I'm literally talking about maybe twice in my life I have visually with my own eyes seen my mother cry. I have maybe heard her on the phone crying maybe twice. Y'all, that's not good, because she had to portray herself being so hard while I was growing up that she showed not emotions like that. And that is a generational curse, knowing what I know today. And she said so, of course, herself. She wished that she would have shown more emotions to us when we were growing up, because we would not have thought that was, we would not have thought that she did not have feelings, you know. And it's interesting how cycles are repeated, because that's what she saw from her mother. And I'm so glad that I was able to step up and break that cycle. I broke it late because I'm just now realizing this stuff. Not even a year. I have not even a year, but it's just, you shouldn't cry. You don't show your emotions like that. You have to remain strong. That stuff is what has destroyed a lot of our true selves. Some of us are naturally sensitive. And knowing that I never saw my mom cry, she toughed it out. That's what I thought a woman was supposed to do, not knowing that it's the opposite. Our emotions come up because they're supposed to be dealt with and they're supposed to keep moving. But it's just crazy how we're taught the opposite, because we're shown the opposite. Now, because it's funny, because I would tell my children, it wasn't like I didn't want them to see me cry. It wasn't like that, but it was just like, okay, I only have 3 minutes and then I have to go back doing what I was doing, so I can continue to tend to what I was doing, to continue to tend, to my family and whatnot. So it's interesting. It's very interesting that stuff like that happens. So you too, you're not rocks. You're not some container without emotions, some container without feelings. When the emotion of crying comes up, cry, sweetheart. Cry. That's why it has risen. The emotions rise up in us so that we can, I was going to say indulge in it, so that we can feel it. And then, of course, that's the time right there to do work and to figure out, okay, well, why am I crying? Why am I set off? Why am I angry? And, excuse me. And when we question ourselves and when certain things come up, it helps us heal past parts of ourselves. So those emotions, they're amazing that they're there, and we have to use them because they are tools to help us continue to move forward. Of course, obviously not saying that, if anger comes up and at that moment you're able to sit and figure out why you got angry. Not to say that it's not going to come up again, but maybe if you actually sit and think about and talk to yourself about the reason of feeling anger at that moment, then you can prevent getting angry about that moment of the said situation that happened in the future. It's like, it's kind of like, I look at it as puzzle pieces, which is interesting because we are a whole. Like my body is a whole. It's one piece. And as we're small and as we add stuff to our plate, as we bury something because I want to hang out with those group of children, but they don't do this, so let me put this away because they might not like me if I have this attached to me. It's just, we start burying stuff. And once we see our triggers, once certain things come up, once certain conversations are said, words are said, conversations are had, it's like little puzzle pieces that we can put together. That's the whole point, right? Us being whole within ourselves, not within someone else or whole for someone else. We need to be whole for ourselves, And so those emotions, they help us to do that shadow work, that inner child healing. It helps. A situation had happened with, I don't remember actually, when you talk about stuff, and I've, said this, the best example is always using yourself. Why pick on someone else? The best example is using yourself. But something had came up, and it was a situation with my husband and myself. And I don't even remember where I was going with that. But it was a situation with my husband and myself. And it's coming back to me. And it had made me a little uneasy, and I was feeling some jealousy behind it, And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give you a feeling of jealousy. I won't do it again." And that's pretty much really what he said, "I won't do it again." And I'm like, wait, no, don't say you won't do it again, because he has already earned my respect. He has earned my trust. Okay. Let's see. Our daughter, excuse me. I always say mine when they're our children. But my daughter, she turned 14 in February. We're going into like 16 years, okay? So not once in 16 years, y'all, has someone called his phone and heard my voice and hung up. Not once has someone called my phone and said, "Hey, I just want to tell you what I saw your man doing, where I saw your man at, who I saw your man talking to." I never been out and some female come up to us and it's like, weren't you with such and such? Y'all, I have never been given a reason to be suspicious of my husband doing something contrary to what we have going on. Never. So I have no reason really for a jealous feeling to come up when it comes to him, right? it just lets you know how we get programmed with certain things, and certain things trigger us and all that stuff. But so he has proved his trust, he has proved his loyalty, he has proved his love to me. That I know without a doubt. But on the other hand, something happened, and I was feeling jealous about it. And he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I won't do it again." And I was like, wait, no, don't tell me you won't do it again. Because, like I said, I trust him, right? So I'm like, no, do it again. Because that's triggering jealousy. And I have to figure out why. So that's the route we took. And I'm like, no, 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 no. This is something, for whatever reason, this feeling is coming up. And I have to figure out why. And so I did. It was just deep rooted childhood stuff. Things that happen and we bury it, things that happen and we don't address it. And this came up, and I'm correlating this to what I was saying about emotions when they rise up, when certain feelings rise up. We have to figure out why. We have to figure out, okay, well, this is making me feel like this. Why? Sit with yourself, go inside and try to figure it out. And once you do figure it out, and once you actually see why, and you have an understanding of why you feel like that and why you're thinking like that, then hopefully that's a moment that you can conquer, and that will not rise up again in the future in that same way. If it does rise up, you should be able to recognize and be like, oh, that's because of that, and that's why that feeling is trying to rise up. But when you recognize it and you see it, it's like having a clear door and someone coming up to the door and you knowing that person, and them, of course, obviously coming to knock on the door because they're wanting to come in. And so someone comes to the door and they're knocking on the door, and you're like, oh, I see who you are. And obviously you could decide to let them in or decide to not let them in, right? And so it's kind of like, that's a funny that's a funny analogy, but whatever, that's how it came. But so it's kind of like that. And when it comes up, it's like, oh, I see you, and you're trying to put jealousy at this situation right here, but I already know this situation made me feel jealous because back when I was 6 years old, yada, 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 yada happened, and that's where it comes from. So when we can pinpoint where certain things come from, we should be able to stop it in its track, and not let that feeling at that moment overtake our joy. Because a lot of times we can be happy. A lot of times we can be in a certain mindset, and something will happen, and it's so quick. Just like that, your mood can switch. Y'all, I am a Gemini sun. So, if anyone knows what I am saying, shoot, I know what I am saying. Okay. And what I just recently found out is your blood type, y'all. If you know your blood type, look up personality traits for that blood type, and it's a trip. Okay. And then with learning about that, and I just learned about I knew that, of course, there's different blood types, but personality traits with blood types, I just found this out like maybe, I don't even think it's been a full week. Okay, this brother on Instagram, I don't even know his name, he had popped up. I had typed in something about blood types, and he had popped up, and he just says, of course, if you're this blood type, then you probably act like this. And it's so funny. And according to my blood type, oh my goodness, yeah, it's, and I'm a Gemini, so I'm like this. But um, um, I am a lovable, sensible person. I am. But I'm real sensitive to energies in words. I am. So I can be all cool and calm, and in one wrong turn, it could flip real quick. And it's funny because I find it funny. I do. But I mean, like, whatever energy is brought to me, it's real easy for me to switch in point of a second, okay, and match your energy. So that's all. But I'm also learning myself continually, and it's like, oh, that person came like that because there's no telling what the heck they have going on at home. There's no telling what just happened on their job. So I'm learning myself, and I'm learning to control myself. And it's a wonderful thing to be able to do that, to be able to, like, okay, sit still, and they were rude checking me out, but not knowing there's no telling what they have going on, in their lives. And in actuality, too, a lot of times if we're on a certain vibration mentally, and you're thinking about certain things, usually that's what you're going to draw to yourself. So if you're sad, and if you're fussing about something that just happened, and if you're depressed, and if you're complaining about this or complaining about that, then darn straight, that's what you're going to meet at the checkout. You're going to meet the same energy that you're in, so we just have to be mindful. And when certain things pop up, be able to take a moment. And even if you can't take that moment right then, maybe if you could write it down, make a mental note, visit it. Because who really, like the Hulk, right? He popped in my mind, the Hulk. Everything could be cool. And at that moment, he can blow up and turn into this big green monster. But once he finishes his job and, he calms down, it's like, oh, I didn't mean to bring that out, right? And I guess that's who I would remind myself of, but that's not good. Anyways, it's okay because that's me, and I can meet you where you meet me at. It's, it is how it is. I can meet you where you meet me at. And everybody is living life and going through life, and things are happening. And we just have to be mindful of that. We have to be mindful of it. It's not personal. We always want to take something personal, and never realizing that the person who is checking us out is going through something too. And there's no telling what, So we just have to be mindful of those things. Okay, y'all. I'm going to let you go. I pray you have a wonderful day. I pray you take some time to speak something positive today. I don't know when you hear this, if it's at the end of your day. It's not even 9 o'clock my time in the morning, so it's still at the beginning of my day. But speak something good. Speak something that, even if it's next time someone says something and I don't like it, I'll wait. I was going to say 2 seconds before I respond. Oh, no, sometimes we need to wait 10 seconds before we respond. And someone that's listening must be like that because, yeah, I do not need no 2 seconds before I respond. I have to literally wait. And it's okay. It is okay because especially when you realize how you are and when you know you need 10 seconds before you respond, take 10 seconds. Don't try the 2. It don't work. It doesn't work, right? So have a wonderful day, okay? Smile. And I'm sending you hugs. Someone needs a hug. I was about to say, go get a hug. No, I think you need a hug from me. So here you go. There's the hug. Smile, okay? Until next time. See ya.